Now you can see them, they've got the high ground control, rotating all the way around. A ton of damage, look at that Bionade! 5 targets connected. Oh my goodness, nobody's gone down yet, but the damage is more than done. They flip the point over. London not really putting too much pressure onto them, but eventually the kills come flooding through. The dynamite damage on top of it. What a setup play there by Reaper.
That was phenomenal. It just kept everybody so low that when the next cycle of abilities came through with that dynamite, with the sticky bombs, London Spitfire were able to wipe the floor with the second round of abilities. Very well played. They're going to be able to flip it over, and I'm pretty sure they will be kicking themselves slightly for...
Again, trying to go for these big Bionade plays. Connects onto the tank line. That is the money target right there. OG falls. Unable to get the heals through. And Florida still trying to turn this one for them. He'll be forcing out a couple of the ults here. You can see Hattie and 2 Primal Rages being used, the duplicate. That is a weird image. It was like an after image. Like he was moving so quick with the Primal Rage, it was creating a copy. Maybe I've just been watching too much anime. I don't know, but yeah, it's...
Speed boost and disrupt them. They won't let them get into the best positions possible. Here they go.
Yeah, Primal Rage is available for OG. Might not even need it. There you go, right around the corner. The Tesla gun doing a lot of work. The Primal Rage is going to be splitting up the opposition as well, seeing if he can get any sort of pickoffs. Oh, he spotted one. Might be able to get it as well. Might not have the flight or not line. No, Blase does not. So unable to leave the fight from that one. And Florida with this aggressive clean, they're in a very solid position to take the round.
Ripper died in the middle of that, and OG wants to push this advantage. Look at that.
Just when you think the team fight was going to be done and dusted, not quite. The Florida Mayhem going to be finding plenty of opportunities. The Primal Rage Hybrid has gone right off the edge. No coach gun available for him to try and reduce that. And the overtime is going to start going down. Will anybody be able to touch? Not quite. The way the team fight worked out, Florida Mayhem are the ones who are walking away with this first round here in map number 1. Hunting. They didn't manage to catch Reaper, actually. Reaper managed to avoid a lot of it. Big Bionade comes through, connects onto OG, but it is Hybrid who ended up getting caught out of position. And it's going to be a lack of damage now for London. Probably unable to try and play this any further forwards. The beam as well, cleaving through them. And now the point can start to get capped up here for Florida, winning out this team fight at the dregs of it.
It's pretty impossible to win the poke war. Death Blossom isn't available at the front line.
The aggressive approach comes through once more. Duplicate gets pretty much nothing. The beam comes through. Going to take them out of the mech, so Yaki's not going to be getting too much done. Self-destruct to combo it. Gananjin not having the fade available to avoid it. Wonderful little setup there. And the beam from Blase on top. Yaki will be falling. Ultimate's committed by Florida. The sound barrier came into this. BQB with the Death Blossom, I should say. Is being able to even this out and maybe winnable now for the Florida Mayhem. You can see the Primal Rage being used. OG just trying to collect the kill. Might be able to get it, not quite. Blase just built up the Primal Rage, so he's going to be able to get back onto the point ever so slightly, and it is going to get flipped over to London in the end of it. The tailwind of this fight, though, Florida Mayhem just going to be backing on to try and take out the Diva in this scenario. There you go, they do just that. But it's not over just yet. The point's still being flipped over as the self-destruct was used. They couldn't get the kill onto Gargoyle. But eventually it looks like this team fight will be going their way. You never want to count Florida out. But they are just going to be tossing bodies at the point, just hoping to keep it going a little bit longer.
Yeah, the Florida Mayhem haven't invested any big ultimates into this fight, but they've got into overtime, and they've bled some out of the London Spitfire. The key player to watch here is Hybrid to me, because the biggest reason that the London Spitfire is down so much right now is because Hybrid was the first pick in those early team fights.
Push them away, but now you can see this tactical visor. That's going to be pushing them all into these unorthodox positions. Away from the point. Bob comes through just to contest it up ever so slightly. Teleports have to be used by BQB, but he will go down, and Florida still want to be taking this fight. Someone's going to try and touch this, though. The team fight's getting one out here by the Florida Mayhem. They get the perfect dive going on to the remnants of the London Spitfire when they didn't push forward, so now it's only Molfig left alive to really try and contest up this point in the overtime. Ultimately, the map is looking a little bit one and done here from the Florida Mayhem. A couple of players from London trying to make their way over to it to keep it going, keep the overtime spinning. The stall hero still coming out as well. Hattie booped away, so the power driver won't connect, and the point does flip over in the end. Someone's got to try and touch this one, and the Florida Mayhem have got to try and coordinate and focus down these picks. They're going to do just that. Come back up, including the shield. Now they're going to be making their move onto the high ground again. Look at these. Nice little shot.
Look at the ult. Look at Ganamjin's ult generation.
Oh, they've got it. Yeah. And Matrix are going to be unleashed here onto the high ground. And look at this offensive by London, playing straight into it. A lot of teams would shy away from that in the face of a really big ultimate like the Matrix. OG does have the ultimate. It's going to be amplifying the damage across the board for the rest of his team. Can they bring it down? Not quite. Ooh. No one's in position. Yeah, Matrix as well. There's no way you can play into that. That is way too much. One shot and your head's going to take it clean off. Still looking for the approach now as the self-destruct comes through, and it is Blase who wins it out. Hybrid as well, the headshot. Quick and dirty down to BQB. No more DPS now for the Florida Mayhem. Cornered up there by the Primal Rage, and a wonderful hold here from London, right when they needed it.
This is gorgeous play from the tanks especially Hardy, to be honest, from the London Spitfire.
Stopped by the shields. Now the fight continues. You can see ultimates being used. It's going to connect onto Molfig. Is there any follow-up forward? Kellex ends up going down. Yaki finds the one target they did not want to lose, and now London desperately trying to hold on. The duplicate, Blase onto the high grounds, tries to send in the accretion, but he's kind of caught in no man's land, and nobody was on the point. Lost way too many players. Nobody could really commit to it. Eventually, Florida breaking through.
A good defense.
Forced back, at least. The London Spitfire's positioning. They have to respect this. It's way too much damage coming through, and there you go. Blase ends up falling there from the flanking off angle, but Molfig evens it out. Gundam going down, and that's no Matrix for this fight.
That is a big problem. Molfig might have just delivered them what they need to be able to seal this out. Gargoyle, though, with aggravating flux, and Yaki cleans up the kills. It looked dangerous for a moment there, but London just didn't have the tools they needed. No ultimates online. And Molfig makes the swap over to the Zarya, so trying to play a pretty strict double bubble.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, and the ultimates are going to start to get expended. Yaki onto the Winston. Bionade didn't slept. Taking out the fight. Hardy, though. Oh, yeah, the bubble wasn't there for him. I believe Hardy may have been slept up into the, or not slept up, but stunned up into the back line. And Yaki's still alive, by the way, has that Primal Rage, eventually going to be taken out of the duplicate form. Bob's doing a decent amount of work here, just trying to basically stop this cart from being pushed in, so London don't have to contest it too much. Molfig also falling very, very low, and the longer this fight goes, the better it's going to be looking for them. OG, that is a pretty big performance he's putting up right now on the Warhorse.
They just
still alive, by the way. They just cannot deal with him. Eventually going to be taking him out. It's kind of baited Florida into a longer fight here. They want to still continue to fight this without losing. Why losing the Primal? Oh, Matrix gets used.
Great immortality
field. Pretty shallow angle here, and look at this. Yeah, the immortality field keeping them all up. Hardy gets burnt down. Ultimate traded for the life. He's going to be coming back off the respawn shortly, but as the overtime burns, it's a dangerous situation for them. Gargoyle also, look at him at that high ground position, and they've got this beautiful pincer. A lot of damage coming off at all these different angles. Ooh, so difficult to try and withstand it. The Gravitic Flux is going to be keeping them off the cart, and enough for them to get that capture in the final moments. It's very difficult to try and push into what Florida are offering here. It's a pretty brutal setup. They're going to get this cross-section going. A lot of damage, though. Gargoyle ends up falling there. Quick little headshot onto him. Takes him out. And a lot of damage onto OG, half HP. And look at them just rolling forwards. They found the opening. Cracked it wide opening.
Yeah, we didn't really see why OG and Gargoyle committed to the low ground there. Seems
now, but it is still an even 6v6, and London are just looking for the right time to let this Nanaboost go. There you go. The timing comes through. They coordinated, but no one was ready for that. And Matrix into the damage boost. The Deadeye, they didn't have time to react, Josh.
That was like a 0.5 second Deadeye kill. That is so well coordinated from the Florida Mayhem. But also, London knew that it was coming. You know that you're playing into, you don't know you're playing into that exact combo. That was amazing from Florida. But you knew you were playing, uses Bob to try and stay alive. He's up there with Blase as well. It's both DPS. They might be able to turn this around on the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, I mean, this is very weird. I mean, this team fight, they wrapped around. But the positions, again, have been reversed here. Deadeye into the Gravitic Flux. A lot of damage, more than enough to take out Molfig. The Reses are going to be trading out, so this fight is still going to continue. But look at the rotations around.
They use duplicate.
Yeah, I'm not sure too much what's going on here. The Valkyrie from Kellex to try and keep his team alive. Accretion is going to connect as well. Gargoyle having a monstrous performance on the Sigma, but the back BQB still hunting for options. Deadeye comes through. Oh, just about catches onto Hybrid. Could not leap away. And the shots are clean and true, finding his mark. And now they're hunting for even more opportunities. These off angles have been brutal. Going to be punished, though. BQB taken out, but it's so scrappy, Josh.
It is. There are glimmers.
What is happening?
Okay, bye-bye, OG. The Florida Mayhem are trying to take fights in the London Spitfire spawn, both here and in the previous spawn room. Just ticking time off the clock. London only have 30 seconds left. Even if they manage to mop up all of these kills, there are still going to be 2 team fights, minimum, probably 3, for them to be able to get it over the line. For London, this is...
Hardy back in to die. Eventually he's going to be getting away, and the pressure they're putting out, they know that they don't have that tank. Dragon Strike is good though. It splits up BQB, and can they put enough pressure into it? What an immortality field. Get Jim just about saving his life for the reapproach now from Florida Mayhem. Yaki uses the duplicate but instantly slept up, and now the grab comes through, and it is massive. Connects onto enough targets that they shouldn't have any issue dealing with them. The Valkyrie on Slime just to buy a bit more time, but they've been given one more option here. The team fight, 24.
Wonder who will select as a target. Blaze's duplicate at any point, if it goes on to Gargoyle, could result in a Gravitic Flux of their own.
Gravitic Flux into the back line here. Look at this. Anybody going to be able to touch this? What? Oh, no. To be in. The point is going to be contested though. They've given themselves a win condition by getting this, and nobody's really contesting yet. Still, Hardy's going to be trying to make it work, but he doesn't have the ults to try and stay alive. And the cart, oh my goodness, somebody needs to get on this objective. Nobody touches. They just couldn't put one foot onto it. They were going to get blown up immediately. We are in the overtime situation though, but at least Florida have got the ball rolling for now. Don't know that it's been cancelled, so they're still hiding. It's given them a bit of time for BQB to actually approach onto the high ground now. Nano boost onto Hardy. Does have the Primal Rage, doesn't choose to use it. He's got way more damage with just the cannon in his arms. Now the Primal Rage comes through, and it's forced so many of them back. Wonderful mechanics from Hardy. It's almost inevitable here that it will be the Florida Mayhem getting stopped just short. Look at that perfect bubble as well, just to try and push away that self-destruct, and they are going to stop them just before this checkpoint B. So
this grab will be online at some
Deadeye.
point.
Okay, trying to make it work here. The duplicate's being used, immortality field to keep him up, the bubble as well. So much being committed into Gargoyle to keep him alive. Grab into the corner, connects up into it. So many ults being pressured out here, but Florida are staying into this one. Now Yaki's built up a grab of his own. It connects the targets. 2 of the most crucial ones being picked off in the middle of this fight. Yaki diving into the back, but nobody touched it.
Another little off angle, but London Spitfire punished it completely there.
With the positioning reversed as well, they get the pick onto Hardy still, despite losing BQB. I was going to say it was looking kind of favorable for them. Oh, okay, the nano boost. That is a scary sight. Bubble's going to get burst almost immediately. Big Bionade onto multiple targets, and they have bought a lot of space to try and get that res off. So Florida Mayhem not going to be winning out this team fight, despite it going pretty good for them early on. Gets taken out of duplicate form. Backs off the rest of his team using the flight, and now trying to put a bit of extra pressure now onto the high ground. What a section of stickies! That is ridiculous.
So well played, especially considering Blaze has a Mercy pocket, and he's only got the Brigitte biscuits to work with. Yaki's out here doing work.
Nano?
No.
Ooh, that is so much damage. Yep, a lot being committed into it. OG ends up going down. The damage boosted beam of Blaze. Moving the tank, and it's a slow attempt by London as they're waiting for the cooldowns to come back in, but it's a good one. The grab is going to connect. That's a long-range one. Just send it straight in. Combo it up as well, as Hardy's going to be collecting a lot of that damage, and it's going to be converting into that ult charge pretty nicely. 3 minutes now for London as they're really just getting a lot of momentum.
Yeah, London Spitfire look like they've improved massively in those particularly. They have a duplicate to work with now, and they can apply the nano boost to Hardy and use the primal afterwards. Hardy, no, he gets bursted.
Oh.
He got chain CC'd there by the Brig and the McCree.
Yep, flashbang and a shield, way too powerful when used in conjunction with each other, locking up the targets. Nano boost as well. Hardy just trying to find the right timing to use this primal. Now he's going to let it rip. There you go. Grab's going to be connecting onto a bunch of them into the Dragon Strike. Beautiful work. And now the London Spitfire with way too many kills, still evened out, as Florida are trying to make it work here. Can't quite find too many of these targets. Yaki going to get taken out of duplicate form. Nobody can deal with OG. The Fortify far too strong, and the heals coming through. Way too effective.
Right around. Blaze's going to have to get his duplicate up fast if they want to win this.
You cannot play into that. The drums and the amp matrix, it's way too much damage. OG is still trying to lead the charge here. They may have caught out Kellex, and the Holt is going to be dragging them all forwards, enough to finish the job. London not able to close out. Look at this, again, just pumping in the damage. Gravitic Flux, obviously not going to be able to get that one off as the duplicate ends up fading. And BQB has maybe found that opening they're looking for. Can deny the res, though, potentially in the background. But look at that, the Dragon Strike comes through to push them away. Not enough, the res still comes off. But London forced now to use ultimates. How are they going to be using that Primal Rage? Self-destruct as well! BQB just stares at it. Flying way too close to the sun, a bit like
Fantastic butchering of that one, don't mind it at all.
Yeah,
you Greek tales told
wait,
by
hold
Brent.
on. Prometheus was the crow bloke, wasn't he?
Yes, okay, the crow bloke. Let's
Who was
let's
the
go
sun
with that.
bloke?
That was Icarus.
Oh,
Icarus flew too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think you might have flown too close
Hopefully
to
my
the sun,
internet cut out, so nobody heard that. It can be very difficult to try and find angles into this double shield at the same time. Reaper goes down almost immediately. London are trying to answer back. The nano boost was used onto Hardy. They did get the kill onto Slime at least, but Yaki's still there, has the Primal. Okay, going to let it rip. What is he attempting there? I mean, you're just not going to be able to reach him when he uses the flight, but still, the duplicate fades. Pushed off. Hybrid gets the kill here. A very scrappy fight. It's kind of all over the place currently as the Amp Matrix is used, and it's going to force London even further back. Hybrid, though, he's finally coming alive here. 2 quick pickoffs. I believe that's Yaki and BQB guy. Duplicate. You see the Orisa drums also being laid down as OG wants to just give his team an extra bit of damage, maybe enough to just push them over the finishing line. Still finding or hunting for these opportunities. Oh, catching Hybrid. The halt into the spam damage from the tanks, more than enough. Still, the fight does not end. And Matrix being committed into the end as they did have to use that one. Hardy almost clutching this up for his team, still alive, but they don't really have the heals necessary to try and win this one out. Florida just going to be focusing down the targets, and that will be checkpoint 2 going their way.
This reminds me a lot of Numbani, because as soon as the double shield starts to get a bit of momentum, London's comp looks like
it's going to be so difficult for them. Including its Gravitic Flux. I mean, Gargoyle's Fluxes just completely upending any sort of attempt that Hardy tries to go for. And that is way too much damage. The halt into the sticky bombs just comboed up. No one is going to be able to touch. And yeah, that...
OG a little weak here, and Hardy has his Primal Rage. Slime battered into a corner. Is he going to be able to get away? This is Ganamjin as well, trying to heal him up.
Oh my god! Okay, Ganamjin ends up going down, actually caught in the crossfire ever so slightly, but Slime does survive, and he does have the beat almost available. Could be enough to try and push them over the edge here. They need to try and take back control of this middle hut, because Hybrid was perched up on there, and they do take him out. OG so low. They need to get the heals off onto him. Look at this Death Blossom, just going to be buying him a bit of time, but look at that. Another Bionade. Now the beat comes through, and that was keeping Slime up. That's where it's trying to pay off. If they can get any more of these kills, they're going to be quite happy for it. Still, Nano Boost now coming up, and look at that.
No way.
My goodness. The Primal kill onto Blase. That was at the very start, I feel like, of that Primal. I would have thought that Blase had flight, but he must have just been gliding that entire time to his death.
Yeah, he must have just been...
As they're trying to get into the point for free. Gargoyle, that's the self-destruct. Ready and waiting, but Slime will be the first one to die. Still, Ganamjin might opt to just using this Coalescence into this fight. In fact, he does immediately. The self-destruct pushes them more forwards. It's not a great Coalescence, though. He's just trying to catch it onto his team and keep them alive, but they do catch Kellex as he glid across the screen. Now, the pressure comes now onto the London Spitfires. They try and answer back and get a couple of picks into the backline of Florida, but not going to be working out for them. Still, as I say that, Blase evens it out. OG and Yaki end up falling. A beautiful duplicate. And now the fight is going to be turned for them. Heavily, but there's not too much that can threaten him ever so slightly. Hybrid, though, caught out. Now the Coalescence just going to be beaming him down. The sound barrier, double support ults, and Yaki with the tactical visor just about fading here. Just needs to be careful he doesn't get approached by the Diva. That's one of the players that can take him out. Molfig, though, demeched in the process when he was trying to keep him checked. Big Bionade onto OG, Gargoyle, and Slime. Is this going to be enough to try and turn this now for London?
That could be a big kill. They've taken both tanks out of the equation. Gargoyle forced to use his self-destruct. I don't think it's going to be enough, though, Brent. London Spitfire, they do have really fast spawners, and Kellex and Molfig, they're still alive, but Florida should be able to burn these guys down.
Difficult targets to try and take out. They get the demech in the process. Molfig so low, will be brought down. And Gargoyle with the anti-nade on him just needs to try and stay alive. 100 HP, has to back off to the rest of his team, and now he's peeling for the backline. Florida still in this one. London just trying to stall it out as long as possible. BQB has the Death Blossom. A lot of defense matrix going to be eating that up, but not enough. Nobody going to be able to touch that point in time. And 1 minute 53 will be...
Yeah, and it is double bubble. It's the Zarya rather than the Diva. So this is This is different. And OG gets melted immediately. I am not sure what happened there.
Yeah, that is...
Yeah,
okay,
you need to be working around your bubbles if you're an offensive...
I think... here's what I think happened. I think OG was perhaps... Approach comes through onto the high ground. OG is bionaded, has to back off around the corner. They're taking a lot of spam damage. Look at how low they are on Florida. And now the go button gets pressed here by London. Duplicate from Blase might be enough to try and capture out Gargoyle. Indeed it is. They've all fallen here, Josh.
Yeah, the Florida Mayhem are just getting wiped off the face of the earth. OG had an Nana boost to work with, but that's nowhere near enough. London are going to set an unbelievable time bank here, with the Florida Mayhem just making so many mistakes that they've essentially gifted it to London. There's nothing that they can do now.
Yeah, pushed off the point and see you later. 4 minutes, 48 seconds. Florida are left in a bit of a predicament. Eventually going to be coming in. Now the Coalescence to try and punish a bit of this aggression coming through, but they're finding it hard to collect onto a target. Oh my goodness. Okay, just beams him out of the sky as I was saying that. Kellex ends up falling, and now you've lost your damage boost, you've lost your healing, and just like that, the Florida Mayhem given an in.
It's a different team when they play this composition. Their attack and defense are so different. They're great at being able to utilize their ultimates, take good positioning, and turn around fights.
And Yaki is holding such an unorthodox angle. He's so far back that they just really can't dive on him whatsoever, but now here comes the ultimate usage from London. They did force out the Primal Rage and the Duplicate. Blase is going to be taken out of that one, and they win the team fight off. 30 seconds remaining. What London are looking for now is a couple of stagger kills to really just put an end to this one. They're trying to touch onto this point, but already a tick has been gained. Might make it 2, but eventually now the bodies start to try and contest this one. Hardy moving over to the ball, but the sound barrier way too good, and it's given them all the damage and all the health they need to try and push through this one. Still, Hardy just rolling away, just trying to push them off of this point and buy as much time as possible, but no one is dealing with Yaki. His tactical visor eventually is going to fade. The self-destruct does well, might be enough, but the fade is perfect from Gananjin, and he will be kept safe. Fight continue, and Blase with this Duplicate has to go huge. This Gananjin goes down, has the self-destruct to try and clear it, and now it goes straight up into the sky. The damage is more than done. The tank line decimated, taken out of the fight, and the overtime push should be stopped here.
That is so clutch from Blase. The Duplicate onto the...
You can see how much it slowed it down, but the engagement comes through anyway. London want to be diving onto this backline, and look at that coordination. That's the supports down and out for Florida on the defense side now. And all London have to do is just bide their time. You can see the Bionade was popped off here. A couple of players, they are just trying to basically stall this one out. Florida trying to survive. Morphin goes out of the mech. Okay.
But OG took a lot of poke damage. Uh-oh, Molfig not able to get back into the mech either. And Hybrid takes a lot of damage there too. If Hybrid dies, this is a poor situation, but I think they've got it.
Yeah, BQB was just kind of watching that flank as well at the tail end of it, but they still want to contest this one. The Nano Boost! Hybrid goes down immediately, and it's going to be trading the tank's positionings here. Yaki needs to try and get this kill, at least onto one of the targets. Kellex would be the best one for them. So much damage being put into them. Now the Duplicate comes through. It's going to be moving over to the Winston. Yaki wants to try and build up the Primal, will get it in the end. Now going to be letting it loose, but yeah, didn't bait out the Sleep Dart, so that's going to be pushed and pressured off immediately. No value going to be gained from the Duke
5, but they must convert.
Paddy does not want to commit that hard. I mean, Gananjin read the positioning perfectly, but OG does go down. That's a great one for them. Rez is going to get denied up here. The Valkyrie from Slime, and look at that, the shot from Hybrid. He finds Slime. Slime 40 got out of there, but not going to be the case. The Team Ek as well. London, surely this is enough to crack this one open. All the picks in the world. Going to be pushing out BQB as well from that position. With a minute left, they just about find their mark. No, just about. Not going to be finding this one. Still looking for any sort of target he can. Getting a lot of work done with the Primal, pushing them backwards, but no kills going their way. Still, Gargoyle goes down, but a massive Bionade connects onto the tank line of London. Is it going to be enough damage? Doesn't seem like it, and still Florida want to continue to fight this one. OG doing his darndest to try and keep the back into this, and what a play by Gananjin. How does he get out of that one? Still finds the opportunity. The trade comes out in the meantime, but I think this could be curtains, Josh. Only a couple of players left for the London Spitfire. Molfig, the last one standing, out of the mech and out of the map, and that is going to be the series. I want to say the Florida Mayhem, I should say, winning out Volskaya. Going to be closing out this series, and Honestly, quite heartbreaking, I think, for the London Spitfire, because let's face it, this qualification period here for the June Joust, it does not get any easier from this point on.
You can see it written all over Kelex's